This week on Supercars Torque, the last of the paint jobs have been released, a few Bathurst co-drivers have been announced, and Scott McLaughlin is an IndyCar winner. The big news this week, and let's not do a joke about, St. Goddard getting the Tickford co-drive or something like that. It is Scott McLaughlin winning an IndyCar race. Stan Sports subscription has kind of already paid off for itself on that one. I was a little bit bitter having to sign up to the the top tier to be able to get the sport, but yeah, to watch qualifying on Sunday morning, and Scott just progressed through each session and then banged it on pole, and then in the race you thought, maybe power will get him into turn one or something like that. No, he had power, Herder, Palou, all kind of within striking distance all race, and he just resisted the pressure, and he was essentially the leader the whole way through. He did drop back a bit, obviously, within the pit sequences and stuff, and because IndyCar has different strategies. But yeah, the whole way through, he was the effective leader. He was in front of those guys. You can't say anyone dropped out or anything. That was just it was not a dominating performance, but it was a very, very strong performance. And stupidly enough, he's leading the championship now, only being round one. But at the start of last year as well, think about Palou went out and won first round, and you kind of went, a bit fluky kind of thing first round, and he went on to win the championship. So a start like that so strong, as ridiculous as it sounds, McLaughlin could be, in with a shot here if he can continue like that. It's a little bit ridiculous to think of that, but that's kind of the way IndyCar runs, where you don't have to be the fastest every weekend, and that, like Formula One, where Mercedes just goes out and wins everything. He could actually be within a shot of this. I'm just you can't wipe the smile off my face on this one today. That was just brilliant to watch. Just one of those things, I suppose, a bit like Mark Webber's first Formula One win. It would just be ingrained there in the brain. For all of time, I'll be telling, people for years and years and years, I had a Stan subscription and I watched Scotty win his first IndyCar race. Just quickly on the Stan thing, I have seen some comments and that on the interwebs about Stan and their coverage. It was the NBC coverage, so that's why you got the ad breaks the way they were. It did cut off a bit at the end there. That's the way NBC runs it. That wasn't a Stan thing. My complaint about Stan, though, is you have to watch it in real time, whereas with KO and that, you can actually speed it up, so you can watch like all the pre-race and the safety cars and things like that sped up a bit, which definitely helps get through the coverage. You couldn't do that with KO, which was a little bit with Stan, which was a little bit disappointing, and maybe some way that they could improve the app for the viewers. Now, on to the main topic at hand, supercars. There's going to be racing on the weekend. That is another exciting thing. There's only one more livery we need to see, whether they have got some sponsors there for James Courtney's car. That is coming up. We did get to see the last two Brad Jones racing cars, Bryce Fullwood and Macaulay Jones's. That feels like an eternity ago now. I can't remember what day last week, but I haven't covered these ones off yet. Bryce Fullwood's is a Sydney Motorsport Park special. Hopefully it looks a little bit better under lights. Just the Middies cars, I think they've looked great over the last few years. This one didn't do it for me. Macaulay Jones's looks really good, but I think this is only for Sydney Motorsport Park. This one, that car will have a rolling sponsorship model for it. That will keep the sign rider busy during the year once again with all that. And today we got to see Scott Pye's new livery. I'm not disappointed in it, and from what I've heard, it's been a bit of a last-minute thing. I wonder if Seiko is paying full rate card for this one, and then whether it will change a little bit during the year, or whether this is a full year kind of thing, depending if they can find some more dollars or not. One thing, it looks better than the Irwin car. That bonnet is... I'm most disappointed by the bonnet on the Irwin car. There has been some co-driver confirmations this week. The big one, Coulthard has been confirmed alongside Luff at Walkinshaw and Andretti United for Bathurst. No confirmation on who will get which seat with which driver. I think the actual, I'd have to see them standing next to each other, but in my mind, which has been known to be wrong once or twice before. I think Coulthard and Percat are a better height match, possibly a better hair kind of match as well. Although Luffy and, having said that, Luffy and Mostert, they have got that bleached thing kind of going on as well. So, but I think Mostert and Luff are probably a little bit better height-wise. And I'm just getting that impression that, Coulthard might go out a bit too much trying to prove something. So we're assuming that Mostert's going to be leading in the championship. So the better chance, going to be the number one car there. Who knows what's going to happen during the season, whether that's actually the case. But I'm just getting that little impression that, Coulthard's going to go out with, something to prove, and Coulthard doesn't often make mistakes, but, on that rare occasion that he does, kind of thing. So maybe, put him in the second car just in case. He also did come out this week and say that he had offers for full-time drives from other teams, but he wanted to stay loyal to Techno. Bad move there. I'd been saying for a good 6 months that, that the Techno lineup hadn't been confirmed, even though it had been. So, Fab's playing this, I'm shocked as anyone kind of thing. It was something that didn't shock a hell of a lot of us. So I'm not sure if you're on the inside of it all. If you couldn't see it coming. Enough on that. Zane Goddard has been confirmed at Tickford. So they've confirmed Zach Best. As far as I was concerned, James Moffat was confirmed as well. So they've only got one seat available there, and we can assume that the Arco World money stretches far enough so that Kurt gets the seat alongside his brother there. So they're basically locked away. It's just which way the combinations kind of fall, I guess. I think Cam and James Moffat will be together again, and then probably, depending on where guys are in the championship, will depend on who gets Zach and who gets Zane for the co-drive there. An interesting little one this week. Walkinshaw, the Walkinshaw Racing or whatever, their engine department is going to be helping the Groves with their engine program this year. Probably a bit more of a tuning thing rather than, redesigning the wheel with it. But my God, the internet lost its mind. How can a Holden team be helping a Ford team with their engine package? Blah, 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 blah. Or the flip side, this obviously means Walkinshaws are going to be running, Mustangs next year if they're doing development on Ford engines. The engines are that close anyway. The key thing next year, only Herod and KRE are going to be building engines for the teams. So whatever happens this year does not mean anything for next year. You just, you go and place your order with one of those two and get your engines. Unless Walkinshaw gets another manufacturer in, and then they'll be back to building their own engines. Why didn't they just go with Tickford? Well, they looked down that route when the Kellys were changing over, and Tickford were too expensive, and their engines, they're not the best in the field, so why would you pay a premium for not the best? Go down the DJR route. A lot of people are saying, Herrods wouldn't supply any other teams. Well, they did in the past. They supplied Matt Stone Racing, but maybe they didn't have the manpower in that. They've got to be focusing on the Gen 3 program. Do they really want to be, focusing on this, the Groves different engine? And it was quite obvious that they didn't want to just buy engines, from a supplier like that. So did Herrods have the manpower to be helping the Groves for this year? And Walkinshaws probably do have the capacity at the moment to take on projects like this, because they're not going to be developing their own engine, because this is, the final year realistically of it. There will be a bit of legacy stuff in Super 2, but they're not going to have, they're not going to be developing this year, really. It's the end of the line, because you're not going to be developing for Super 2 in the future, because they're going to move to Gen 3 quite quickly afterwards as well. So that's probably just where it all kind of lined up. No big conspiracy theories or anything, and just a bit of help for the Groves, because they probably needed a bit with their engine package. Now, I've prattled on for a long enough time, so a very quick preview for the weekend. There is racing at Sydney Motorsport Park. No surprises on where we're going, because that's where all the races are held nowadays. There will be 2 300-kilometre races over the weekend. We get some racing under lights, which will be exciting. We get a top 10 shootout on both days, which will probably be a bit of a snooze fest, but I'm just excited to see cars racing. Super 2 this weekend as well. Excited to see those guys, because the field looks... it's probably not the massive names that we've had, a few years kind of past, but I think the championship's going to be a lot closer this year and a bit more of a tussle, whereas, like last year, it was Brock Feeney's to lose. But overall, there seems to be a lot more competition this year. My tips for the weekend are a battle between Anton and Chaz for honours, with, Shane and Cam very closely behind. I do expect Percat to come out of the blocks quite strongly with his new team, and I have actually got the championship prediction video coming out on Thursday morning. Keep an eye out for that. I haven't covered this in the video, but I will be holding a bit of a competition. I've done my picks for every driver in position for the championship this year. There will be, if anyone wants to join me in the stupidity, there will be one of these sexy Supercars Torque mugs available. There is 4 to choose from. Now, to enter, I want the finishing position of everybody in the championship. So, all 25 entries listed, preferably in Excel format and emailed to me. So that's a lot easier for me to keep track of, rather than them. Don't worry about down in the comments. Please email me at the end of the video. The email will be there, supercarstorque@gmail.com. Pretty simple. Entries need to be in before round 2 as well. So a bit of grace for my thing is out this week, but if you want to have a bit of a look at it, because there might be a surprise like Scott McLaughlin winning round 1. So it's pretty simple. Just everybody in championship order, Excel format, email it to me, and your chance to win one of those sexy mugs. If you are interested in buying one of those mugs as well, drop me an email, supercarstorque@gmail.com as well, because I don't have an online store or anything, so we've got to do it a bit old school with a PayPal deposit and that. But until next time, there's going to be racing this weekend. I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.